This is probably the most realistic AI video that I've ever created. Latest AI image model Flux was released quite recently. People were very impressed with the realism of it, especially as a competitor to Midjourney. And most recently, these concept images started to appear from Flux around presenters and other people that looked very, very, very realistic, almost indistinguishable for compared to like a real person. Even I got fooled by it. If you want to use Flux, you can now access it through free pick, and I recommend going in because the level of realism is incredibly efficient. And I decided to jump in and try to recreate some of these, videos of realistic people. However, I wanted to go a step further because images are one thing, but can realistic looking images look realistic in video? And this is where things got quite interesting. So I went to free pick and I started doing some basic prompts with Flux to show me some presenters. I wanted to get people holding a microphone, people actually looking there in front of a crowd and interacting with people. And I decided to pick a few that I thought would look good. And I settled on one. And before moving it into a video tool like Runway, I decided to upscale it. The reason I'm upscaling is because I want to get as much quality out of the image before I bring it into an AI video tool, because the higher the quality of the image, the higher the output, whether using Runway, Luma, or anything else. Once I've upscaled it and you can see the features are slightly better, I went and used my favorite current tool for AI video, which is Runway Gen-3, and they recently added image to video. And I decided to throw the image that I just created through FreePick into Runway. You can see the prompts as I put them in, but I kept it quite simple because I like to define the image in my prompts to an AI video tool, especially with image to video. I just said it's a presenter speaking to a crowd or something along those lines. Very, very simple. And I wanted it to be in slow motion. The reason I want it to be in slow motion is because I feel like the faster you want footage to go, the more glitches that happen. You'll see issues that happen with the hands, happen with the background. Things start to blur and smear where they shouldn't be. So slow motion tends to reduce a lot of that. However, as you can see from some of the results that we got, we're getting quite a few errors. We're getting hands that don't look good. We're getting body parts that shouldn't be there. A movement that just doesn't look quite right. And the key thing here is to try to find an output of whatever tool you've used that has a few seconds of footage which looks reasonably usable. Export the best one and bring it into a tool like CapCut or Adobe Premiere, because we need to edit this thing as well. So the only way I can make it look as realistic as I can is to start cutting out the parts of the video where it kind of goes wrong, where the errors happen. And this is exactly what I started to do. I found a good solid few seconds of video where the footage looks good, and I used that. I cut out the bit where it got weird, and then I adjust the speed of it. Sometimes I make it even slower so the video lasts maybe a little bit longer. You can see kind of the motion a bit more, and that adds to the realism aspect of it. I know there's people out there that have created like longer minute long content which with really realistic movement, but I'm really struggling to still get that. And right now the best way I can find is this is as close as I can get. Basically, I get 10 seconds of footage and I just cut out the bits that kind of work for that realism aspect. I wanted to do this test because it gives us a bit of a barometer as to where we are at right now when it comes to realism. I don't think this is where where we want it to be, but it's definitely getting really close. From a 10-second video, we're still getting errors, we're still getting generation issues, but if I look back 1 or 2 years ago, we were nowhere near this stage, and this was so super, super interesting. I hope this video hopes to showcase where we are with tech, and I hope you can jump in, and maybe you can also figure out some ways to make these problems better. This is the best way I can figure out so far. I'm going to keep testing it. I'm loving using Flux so far, and I recommend going for free pick if you want to give it a go, because it's fantastic.